All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our hangout tonight. We are excited to be here for our advanced mentoring session. We've got some fantastic topics that we're going to be talking about this evening. I'm very excited to be able to have our special guest here with us this evening, Mr. Curtis Broom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you doing? How's Arizona treating you?
Arizona's treating us good. You know, we just got home. We were on this little whirlwind kind of trip that we took for the summer. We were working our way up to Salt Lake City for the Jeunesse University, and we decided to take a little bit of a roundabout way. We went up through California, did a little sightseeing in Huntington Beach, and then went up to San Francisco. Had the whole family with us and spent a little time there, met with a few prospects while we were there. Went over to Lake Tahoe and then into Salt Lake City and then back down to Arizona. So we were on the road a total of 36 hours, 1,600 miles, and had lots of fun, man. You know,
that's actually a great little tour because I lived in Phoenix on a project for about 8 months, so I know your neck of the woods really well. I lived in Southern Cal for 16 years, lived in Sacramento for a year and a half, but spent all my weekends either in Tahoe or over in San Francisco. I once rode motorcycles from actually LA up PCH, up through San Francisco and on up in Northern California, Sequoia National, Forest and that kind of stuff. So I'm very familiar with that route. So that brought back flashes of memories from many, many years ago.
Well, it was, we normally just go straight up through Vegas. We stay in Vegas and then go right into Salt Lake. And with the kids, we used to drive straight through, but 5 kids, 13 hours in the car, one of them being a 3-year-old that has to go to the restroom every couple of hours. We just started kind of breaking it up a little bit. And Vegas, just something must have been going on in Vegas because a normal room was just ridiculous. And so we thought, well, let's do something different. The goal was to never be in the car more than 6 or 7 hours at one time. And we were able to do that. And it was a lot of fun. For us, some of our greatest memories have come from just being in the car and
Sure.
I don't know, you're that's the beauty of this business and this industry is that, your office is a different view every day. And along the way, we're just doing our calls like usual and business as usual. A lot of fantastic things happened over the last week. So it's
traveling with kids where it's, the standard answer, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. When are we there? 20 minutes. How long? 20 minutes. How much further?
And it was, but it was a blast. We had a lot of fun. We're very grateful for just the opportunity that we have to be able to do those things. And of course, Jeunesse University was fantastic. It was really good, I think, for a lot of people to be able to go there and hear the big vision. I was talking to somebody today, and I said, these events, they really have never costed anything for me because how much I get out of them and what happens to my business as a result of attending them. The reality is there is no cost. I mean, it's truly a blessing because right after these events, it's just always you see the fire. And we had a really good group of people there. We had people that came from all over the place. And I think it was really good for everybody to hear Wendy and Randy's big vision and get everybody looking forward instead of still kind of caught in this whole, what's gone on over the last few months. So it was really good.
Sure. Well, and it's, but you're also headed towards the right time of year. We're going through the last month of summer and people are doing the last bit of vacation stuff and the kids are getting ready to, head back into school. So now's a good time because you're going to head into probably the most powerful time in networking. And the reason is it's that hard charge through the fall. And you've got the holiday seasons, which not that they're intended to be recruiting seasons, but you do get oftentimes to connect with family and connect to close friends, which by just making them aware of what you're doing, you don't want to use family time to become a pitch fest. That's not the point, but you really get to reestablish some relationships. And sometimes if you just let people know what you're doing and leave it at that, what it does, it really sets a stage because then you hit that January to June time frame, which is literally just lock and load. And so, now's the time for people. There are certain things that need to be done or can be done for everybody, whether someone is a truly full-time elite professional like you and Summer and a lot of your leadership team to a brand new newbie who is just getting started. So what those people do may vary, but now's the time. I mean, now is the time, and these next 2 weeks is where people really should be laying out a very specific plan So they are fully geared up and they aren't caught off guard. And it's not, well, I'll get to it next week, or well, because now we're going into, Labor Day. So, well, hey, maybe after that, everything needs to be prepped now if they really want to make the most of this time. And where you guys are coming out of this event, particularly with the company you're in, the team you've got, and the way you're positioned, man, now is a sweet moment for Team Legacy. It really is. It's just an amazing time.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about that, because there's a lot of people that either, through the transition kind of froze a little bit. And then there's a lot of people that came on board and it was summertime, and it just, a lot of distractions. And so I think that would be a really good topic. I'd love for you to maybe help us with some pointers on how do I get back on track? How, if I've been distant or, kind of been away a little bit, how do I get myself back into the fire again? How do I get myself plugged in? How do I really put together a 30-day and a 90-day game plan? What are some tips that you could throw at, that individual? Because I'll tell you, we had a group here in Arizona that was on fire, and many of them have children. And when the summertime hit, the last month, things kind of slowed down a little bit. Now everybody's kind of coming back to the fold saying, okay, I'm ready now. What would you tell us for somebody like that?
Yeah, because it doesn't mean the excitement lessened, but life increased, if you will, or whatever. It's that thing. I mean, obviously, it's all about having time freedom and family. And so, whether you've gotten to time and financial freedom yet, family's still critically important. So I completely understand that. But now that they're getting back into what's more normalcy, the fire is still there. It's like the embers in a campfire. Now it's time to kind of blow on a little bit, blow off the dust, and all of a sudden you can get a raging inferno going again. Here's what it really is. We talked about this not long ago, and I'd said, what is the importance of daily method of operation and daily activity and commitment to consistent activity? Well, let me tell you what was a process that I went through with my mentor years ago when I first started getting coached and everybody who has been through these trainings, if you go back to some of the original stuff, I told my story. I was introduced to this space 27 years ago. In 2016, it'll be 28 years ago. For the first 2 years, I failed because I came in having, at 30, but in my mid-20s, I started businesses and had success. So I was arrogant. I wasn't listening to leadership. I thought I'd just be smarter than everybody for the last 70 years and figure out a better way. And I failed for 2 years, was going to quit, found a mentor who kicked me squarely in the pants and said, either shut up or get out, and, listen, learn, and do, and just be quiet or just go. And I decided to listen, learn, and do. And one of the things he did is you and I both know, personal development and mindset is critical. And we've done a lot of talking about that. But that's to get your mental preparation and I guess your commitment and maybe some mental toughness. But the reality is you do have to act. You have to go do things. You have to go do things. But for every individual, that's different. And so let me share some thoughts with everyone here that will be applicable regardless of your level of experience, regardless of your time and space, and regardless of your situation. It will be applicable to all. First and foremost, you will never have success, I believe, unless you're full-time. But that doesn't mean number of hours. That's mindset hours. Meaning, you can be a parent, you can be a member of your community service organizations, your church, various associations, and you can have a full-time job, not the financial freedom yet, time freedom of a true entrepreneur yet, but you have additional hours you are willing to commit to making available to this process. They have to be full-time hours, meaning they are prepared, you're prepared for them, and when you go into them, it is flat out full-time. It is, and I don't care if that's 8 hours a week, it is full-time hours. I don't count the preparation for those 8 hours as part of the 8 hours. I mean, I'm going to allocate 8 hours of full-time, and I'm going to go at it. You can be somebody who, like Travis Summer, they're almost 80 hours a week at times. They make sure they carve out time for family and other things that are part of the well-rounded, trying to be balanced. But still, they are. But those are full-time hours, meaning it's effective hours. So, number one, you need to understand this is for you, and this is for everybody listening individually, because you're not here to prove anything to me. You're not here to prove anything to Travis or anybody else on the team. You're not here to prove anything to other team members or teammates. This is for yourself. So look in the mirror, man up, woman up, toughen up, and stop BSing and be blunt with yourself and say, am I going to or am I not? There is no try. Do or do not. Yoda, great quote. There's no do or do not. And so first you need to start. As you go into this season, start. do a bit of mirror time. Look dead squarely in the eyes of the person in the mirror and just say to your, I am going to do, or I'm not, and stop playing around with that. So let's get that out of the way, because everybody can do that regardless of your level. Please understand, everything you've done up till now, that's great and it's wonderful. It's written a history and it can be an education you can learn from in the future, but get over it, it's done. And it's really, to this degree, it's irrelevant to what you're going to choose to do, because choose to do and what you do, that's the key. So look in the mirror and decide, I'm going to do, or I'm not going to do, and just be honest with yourself and stop playing. The second thing is this: if you're going to do, then you need to have a calendar. And the reason you need to have a calendar is you want to at least adjust. This isn't about personal development. That has its place, and it's a critically important place. I don't think if you're developing your mind and who you are personally, I don't think you'll ever achieve your full potential. But let's set that aside. Those are other trainings and other things, and there's resources. And you are looking here at a team leader in Travis who has committed for years and years to personal development. If you want reading lists, he's got them for you. If you want exercises, he's got them for you. If you want to just go, whatever, you can handle that. You'll do that on your own time. Set that aside. You want to create a subliminal messaging in yourself that prepares you to be able to commit mentally to do, and do consistently on a daily and a weekly basis. And here's what I want you to do. What I need all of you to do who are not full-time, meaning in terms of available hours, in order to make the hours that you are available, full-time hours, is one of the greatest exercises I ever went through was an actual physical monthly and then annual calendar creation. And what I did by that is this. He sat down with me as a mentor and he said, I'm going to make you responsible for your future. I'm not here to do it for you. I won't do it for you. I refuse to do it for you. I'm here to do it with you. But that means you have to be doing, and then I'm doing the withing. I'm the withing part. You're the doing part. So I'll do it with you. And first, what you're going to do is you are going to commit to absolutes, because I don't have time for excuses. You can make money. You can make excuses. You can't do both. You can create results. You can create excuses. You can't do both. You can do, or you can excuse. You can't do both. So if you've decided I am going to do, then put yourself in a position where you can. And first and foremost, start playing a game. If it's going to be full time, treat it like a business. Respect it. If you owned a true full-time business, a restaurant, there are hours that you are open and hours you are closed. That's for the public. There's all the rest of the time where you're ordering the food and you're stocking the freezers, and you're stocking the pantries, so that you're making sure the equipment is ready, so that when you open the doors for the public, you're ready to go. There's preparation. So here's what he said. He said, I want you to grab this calendar, and I want it to be from 7 a.m. to midnight. Why? Well, I don't know. If you want to change your life, are you willing, 7 hours of sleep is what you probably should have, but if you can survive on 6. So, and I don't care what you do, make it from 9 a.m. to 9, whatever you choose. He said, your calendar create. I would recommend a 7 a.m. to midnight, but that's okay. You choose what you wish to choose it to be. And I would make it out from Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to grab a black magic marker. I want you to grab an orange magic marker. And I want a green magic marker, or a green highlighter. And a black magic marker, I want you to black out every single hour of those days, 7 days a week, when under no circumstances whatsoever right now in your life are you currently able to make available to your future fortune that you're going to create in the business. Mark them off, because if you already have a full-time job, you have to be there, and you need to be focused while you're there. So mark them off. If you have committed community relationships or community service things that you have to do, or church, whatever it is, or family obligations that there is nothing in the world more important than those, that's okay, because you can still create an amazing life around that, but black them out. With orange, mark out those times you don't want to make available. You can, but you don't really want to. For whatever reason, it's your favorite TV show, and you're just not at a point where you're strong enough to throw the TV out the door. Although Travis and I can tell you stories of people who, when they started, became so passionate, they literally sold their flat screen TVs, sold their stereo sets, said I can get enough music or personal development on my iPod, and they sold their TV, and they said, when I'm at $15,000 a month in full time, I'll go buy a TV. And then they actually never did again. But the point is, you have to decide what you don't want to give up, because if you choose to give up what you don't really want to, and this is a business where nobody's monitoring you by standing next to you like a child and looking over your shoulder, at some point you will slide back into it, and you'll say, well, on second thought, this week instead of that, I'm going to go watch the TV show. Why don't you just not confuse yourself as to what is an absolute committed time? But in orange, you could always choose occasionally maybe to make it available for a special thing that's going on in the business that week. But orange out the times where you don't want to. And then with what's left, green them out. because you have to create a plan, and it has to be a plan that is realistic. It needs to be a plan you participated. Don't go to your leader and say, tell me what to do. The leadership will say, why don't you tell me what you're willing to make available for things to be done? Because I will tell you that if you're available on a Tuesday, what we need to have you and what we need to do together is different than if you're available on a Wednesday but not a Tuesday. And if you're available on Thursday but not Tuesday or Wednesday and Monday, then there's a different plan I need to create for you to move into successful action than if you're available on Tuesday and Wednesday but not Monday and Thursday. So grab your calendar, but when you highlight in green, here's what it is. Short of a death in the family or an accident, or if it really falls on Christmas Day or on the first day of Hanukkah or whatever it is, that obviously when you get out that full year, great. Other than that, short of that, every single Monday from 8 to 10 p.m. and every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. and every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. or whatever it is, I will commit that these are my full-time hours, and nothing short of death or critical family emergency or maybe a major holidays, nothing will keep me from those times. You have to decide that. So even if you only can put in 8 or 10 hours a week, what are they? Because I can't help you unless you let me know what you are committed to without exception, and nothing will keep you from it as time that you are willing to make available to build an effective business. If you will sit down with me and say, here's what I want to accomplish, here's the time I will commit to with no excuses whatsoever under any kind, unless it's just extraordinary, and then we all understand that and forgive it. Can you help me create a plan? Then I can say, yes, we can create a plan that will move you into growing success. Now, if you make 8 hours available and Jill over here makes 12 hours available, understand she has the potential to move faster. So don't look left, don't look right. That's not, this isn't a comparison game. The question is, what are you going to do? What are you willing to learn? Within that schedule, take it out for a year. Don't fill in the next 30 days. Grab a calendar, highlight a week, and then highlight that entire year, stopping only on those major holidays, or if it is your anniversary, celebration with your spouse should be, or something like that. But other than that, highlight for a year. These are the times I know I can commit. Then you want to sit down with your leadership and say, when are the major events of the company? Because Travis just shared with you why. It doesn't cost you anything compared to the value that you gain and the empowerment that is created, and just the relationships and the people you will meet. And so what you need to do is you need to calendar for the next 12 months. You have to understand, when a company has gotten as large Jeunesse in, when you've got MYNT powered by Jeunesse and you've got this whole thing coming together, they know when their regionals are, they know when their Super Saturdays are, and they know when their major national convention events. They know when their Emerald trips, they know where their Ruby, celebrate, they know where their Diamond trips. You need to calendar the year. Why? Because when you simply jot in the calendar 11 months from now, the major convention event or whatever it is, it subliminally plants in your head, that's where I'm going to be. You don't have to book the hotel rooms. You don't have to book the flights now. But when in a calendar you've actually written that in, I need to be aware of these 4 days. What will happen is, if those 4 days don't match your highlight, you will begin to start to think, you and the universe will start to conspire together to make sure that you're able to free up the time for those 4 days, because your whole mindset is already there. If you literally had, and by the way, don't do this online. You can put it in your Google Calendar. You can post it in your smartphone digitally after you've written it physically. There is a magic about literally physically writing something in a book. Get a calendar and physically write it. If you will physically allocate what is your weekly, I will never deviate from this except for extraordinary circumstance. And I'm going to highlight that out. I'm going to green mark every single week. I can add green marks, by the way. I can put in more hours, but I will never deviate from these minimum hours. If you put in major events, and then if you note in those times, when are all of the weekly events of the team, some of which may be occurring during times I've blacked out, but that's okay. At least be aware that they're there. Because what will happen is, when you are aware there are things that could critically and positively impact your business during a time you have not made available, something starts happening. During the times you are available, you will start to work harder and harder during the time, not expanding the time. You will mentally be prepared if you choose to do. If you mentally have said to yourself, I commit to being a doer, not a BS excuser. So I only have 8 hours, but I am going to kick butt during that 8 hours. when you see all the things you are not available for because they were orange highlighted or you black highlighted them, but then you start saying, you know, that community organization, I can make available this time instead and find someone else to trade and take that time. I'm going to go back and change my calendar and free up all those black spaces and turn them into green, because I'll take that person's Sunday afternoon so I can free up that Wednesday evening, and I'll swap out, because you'll suddenly start to think, how could I make that time available? How can I bend and change, modify my life? How will the universe allow me to adapt and shift? And now what happens is, if you truly commit to a plan and a calendar of doing, think about it. If you were just an average employee in a job, the boss creates the weekly or monthly work schedule and posts it. You know when you're going to show up, when you're going to go home, and what is expected of you while you're there. The boss tells you, based on your job, here's what you are expected to do during the time you're here, and here's when you show up, and here's when you go. And if you don't, you get fired. Well, you just need to understand, you're your own boss. So pretend you're the boss as you create the calendar, then be the employee of your own bossdom, if you will, and show up when you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. Make the calendar available. Let your leader say, then, if these are the 8 hours you're going to be full-time, here's the most effective way based on our team methodology, our team systems, and our team processes. Because when you get started, you hot market instantly. That we do immediately. As we're creating your calendar, then here is the method of operation, so that based on your schedule, you're going to have to adapt our daily method of operation or weekly method of operations or operational systems that we use as a team, so that you don't have to be individually skilled. You can rely on a systematic process so that the skill of the system compensates for your newness, and you can go into effective success creating action instantly. And when you combine all this, then you create an action plan of doing. Then when you start to realize, if I will then squeeze in that 30 minutes a day to read 10 magical or 15 or 20 magical or 30 magical pages of personal development, we've all said a great book, maybe, what is it, 300 pages? So if you read 10 pages a day, you would read one every 10 days or every 30 days. If you read 30 pages a day, you're reading a book every 10 days. If you read a personal development that improved the quality of your mind, and you did that 30 times a year, 30 books later, a year from now. So here's the question. How hard are you willing to work this entire year you scope out, without a great deal of financial result? Simply to prepare yourself for the windfall, so that your mind is better and your habit, your habitual activity of precise, massive action in a precise schedule in perfect alignment with your leadership and your team processes. And I did it for a year, just become better at doing it. Not to actually achieve a result, not to say, if I don't make $500 this month and $1,000 next month, I'm going to quit. If I don't make $1 million this next 6 months, I'm going to quit. Instead, what if you commit to the fact, I don't care if I make anything or nothing. I care about becoming somebody who's worthy of making something. I want to become somebody who's worthy of having somebody follow me. I want to become somebody who's worthy of having my first customer say, sure, I'll try the product, or my first person say, yes, I'll join your team, because you're worthy of being somebody I teammate with. What if I say, I'm okay if the first 100 people I talk to say no, because I want to be properly prepared with the 101st. Of saying, with 100 presentations behind me, I'm now worthy of actually doing a presentation that's worthy of somebody actually taking the time to listen to. What if you took that calendar and took it that seriously and said, think about it. People do this all the time in the traditional work world, Travis, but somehow they seem to think that here it's supposed to be magical. Without any effort, I'm supposed to press a button. It's like the lottery where everybody's supposed to get the right 6 numbers in the Powerball number, because we're all supposed to press a button and it's done. In other words, in the traditional work world, if you're in this job making this kind of money, but you want to make that kind of money, you know what has to happen? You have to be doing this job first before they pay you the money that comes with it. Why? Because if you're only doing the job that's worth $10 an hour, why would I give you the $15 an hour job? That doesn't happen in the world, and everybody gets that. If I'm the $10 an hour employee and I want to be the $15 an hour person, you have to be doing the $15 an hour job. Then they say, great, we'll promote you because we now know it's no longer a risk. You have earned the right to be the manager because you've been doing manager quality work. What, you don't think that happens in network marketing? Why should you be Ruby? Why should you be Sapphire? You haven't done the work to be worthy of it. Why would you expect it? The world doesn't expect it. If you were the boss, you wouldn't give somebody a raise unless they had done the job that the raise already equaled. So in network marketing, what if as you're sitting here now and you're going into the most powerful time of year, vacations are getting done, the reconnection, the family, it's all great, the kids are going back to school, and now's your chance to say, I have truly a 10-month power run. It is the most powerful time. I build my plan in August. I work with my leadership, my teammates. I may even start doing some of it while I'm trying to wrap up the kids' vacation. I may not be able to really go at it, but I'm getting used to the fact. I'm understanding. I've built my whole calendar. 2 days from now, you have an entire 12-month physical calendar. Then go ahead and put it into your Google Calendar. Then go ahead and put it into your iPhone calendar. Fine. But have written it first, so visually you could flip through real quick 12 pages, see 12 months, and say, I know exactly what my Mint Powered by Janess plan is. I know it, I can see it, I got it. There's no more confusion. There's no wondering. When do I know what I'm doing? These are the times I'm able, these are my times, and here's my plan. These are the things that are going to happen that I can't do unless I choose to get creative and figure out a way to make them happen. But at least I see what my plan is. And then here's what I'm going to commit to do. I'm going to take this plan and I will be relentless. I don't have to be as good as anybody else because this isn't about anybody else. It's about me. And I'm going to go into it without an expectation of result. I'm going to go into it. Remember what we said, divorce the result and marry the process. Well, there's two processes. There are action processes and there are personal processes. I am going to become a personal development committed, devoted disciple. I am going to allocate outside of this 30 minutes a day to read something or listen to something that is empowering and it is mind expanding. And then I'm going to commit to this schedule and I will be relentless as I serve my spouse, as relentless as I serve my children, as relentless as I am a great brother or sister or son or daughter, as relentless as I show up at work on time, I do the job that's outlined for me, I leave on time, I make sure my job's completed. I am going to relentlessly pursue these hours that I've allocated, not for the purpose of achieving a result, and that's different. See, in the traditional world, you go to work, you better get the result or you're going to get fired. Here, if you focus on the result, you're going to quit. So stop it. Focus on being the person who's worthy of having a result happen for them. So I'm going to relentlessly apply myself, and I don't care. I really, truly don't care if it's 5 or 6 hours a week. I wish you would get it to 8 to 10. I think at 8 to 10, that's when really magical things happen. But you know something? If you don't have it, you don't have it. In life, you have to do what you can until one day, hopefully, you can do what you want. But you can do whatever it is you can do. So stop making excuses. Say, I am going to be a doer. I am not going to look at people who have 80 hours to do or 16 hours to do or 23 hours to do who already have 5 years of experience. I started last week. But I will commit for 12 months with no expectation of result, because I know that the result will come when I'm worthy of receiving it, and people will join when I'm worthy of being someone they join. But I will commit to this path because I am going to become one who is worthy of all that, and I'm going to be relentless in my pursuit. I will follow the systems the team has laid out because they were put together by people who have done this for many years, have achieved great success. They are not here for my failure, because the magic of network marketing is the wealth. Those who achieve wealth only did so if they create success. If they can't create it for others, if they help others create success. So they don't create systems or processes. They don't ask you to do things. They don't tell you that these are things that will get you better results, because they are lying to you, misleading you, or want you to fail, because your failure creates their failure. This is a world, in the traditional world, no one, so many times those above you do not want you to succeed because they feel threatened by your success. In network marketing, those above you, if you will, cannot succeed without your success. So commit to the team systems. They weren't made up because it was just something, it was some thought for fun and jokes and make fun of people. They were created because they are tweaked and they are adjusted constantly by people who are 80-hour-a-week, full-time, lifetime committed, because they want you to succeed. But they cannot do. You have to do. They help. They help you build your business, but you must do the building. And so that's it. That's what I would say right now. If people would take all this stuff, personal development is happening 30 minutes a day. There are reading lists out there. Travis has got them. 1 million people have them. I don't care what you read. anything. Because if you get 50 pages into it, don't like it, put it down. Go pick something else. But it's the engagement, it's the action and the habits that actions create. But you can go through 20 or 30 books this year and you'll be so far ahead. At 10, one a month, and you'll be 12 books into it. It'll be such a dramatic change. Pick a calendar and be relentless and commit to a year. You know what? If it doesn't work at all in a year from now and you say it's just not for me, okay, because network marketing isn't for everybody. But I promise, if you truly, I don't care if it's 5 or 6 hours, 8 hours, you commit to a truly focused, kick butt, massive action, maximum, activity, compressed activity, massive compressed monster result, but monster quantity of proper process effort during those 6 or 8 hours a week. And you do that for a year. First of all, you won't be doing it for 6 or 8 hours. You will have expanded. You will have seen. You will have. I just know that. It's just because we've seen it. Those who do and do and do, those are the ones who end up playing for the long term. So that's what I would do. You're going. If you would take these next couple of weeks, so that coming out of Labor Day, you aren't then creating the plan. You've got a plan, and you are crushing that plan. And the funny thing is, Travis, as long as you've done this, and I've done it longer, but still both of us have done it long enough and at a level. The funny thing is that when we watch people who do that and they hit that tipping point breakthrough where all of a sudden, we've talked about it in previous sessions, that when your teams aren't doing it, you just don't believe. And I'm not going to address that here. Go back and watch those. It was 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. Watch those. As if things aren't happening around you, you don't believe. But when you see people get through it, you see people who come back and say, my gosh, I never believed that it was this. Now, I didn't say it was easy. It's hard work. You're going to put in a lot of hard work, massive compressed action in these hours. You're going to be busting your butt during those hours. But when they finally break through, they said, I never believed it was as simple as you said it was, because it is that simple. It's just that simple. There's nothing complicated. There's no PhD. There's no MIT thing going on here. It's that simple. And we've seen it happen so many times. And we have seen so many people who easily had more talent, massively more potential talent than all these folks who hit that breakthrough point, who had to work so hard with less talent till they became that talented. And we've seen so many people with potential who they simply just didn't do it. And had they done it, and they go on to say it doesn't work. And those are the people saying that doesn't work. When those who did, they say, I just never believed it was that simple. That truly unwavering, unshakable commitment to massively compressed action, even if it's in a limited number, but so that those hours are the most effective hours they can be, to the processes that were established, not questioning, not diverting, but staying focused on them and letting those who have more experience, let the team as a team figure out how to refine them and improve them. Don't divert, just stay focused and committed to it. And they go, but it can't be that simple. And yet those who do, you watch it happen, and those who don't, so most of them, they just walk away, and you realize it just wasn't going to happen. So there you go. That's what I would do. That would be the plan that I would share with people, and everybody on this call, or on this who watch this hangout now, or they see it later. Everything I just gave you is something you are perfectly capable of doing, because you will end up with the plan that is the perfect plan for you. You'll know exactly what times you're doing what. Your leadership, and if the person who got you in is new, and the person who got them in is new, and the person who put them in is new, and the person who just keep on going. You keep on walking up, because at some point you're going to run smack dab into Travis in summer. You're going to run into your leadership, and let that plan be filled out, and then commit to that plan. And you watch. Be a doer, and don't expect the result, because you aren't. Particularly if you're brand new, because you're not good yet. Everybody's terrible until they've done it enough. It's just like the little kid who keeps falling off the bike, trying to walk, falling down, trying to walk. Just commit to it, because you will eventually stand. You will eventually ride the bike, and you won't need the training wheels, and you'll be fine. And that's what I would do, because you've got a hard 10-month run. And I have seen people go from 0 to hero. They've gone from brand new, and when you look at it, they just monstrously full-time outworked everybody else. They weren't more special than people. They weren't smarter than people, but they really did it. So there you go. That's the plan. That's what I would.
You said something that you said that I absolutely loved. You said, and I don't remember the exact amount you used, but you said, don't go out and try to make $100,000. Go out and try to become the person that's worthy of making $100,000. Is that, that was on point. Well,
don't expect to make $500 or $1,000. Work on becoming the person who should make $500 or $1,000. because that's how you do it. It happens in the process of becoming. Focus on, yeah, that's it. Just focus on becoming. There's only one way to get good. You can't read and then be good. You have to do. Yeah. You become good in the doing. And that's what we've talked about before. You need to pretend you're a newborn baby. Babies learn to speak by making noise until they learn how to make specific noises with their mouth. They realize, I move my mouth, I make certain noises. Then they start hearing words differently, and they start figuring out how to move their mouth to make that noise. All of a sudden they say words. They don't even know what the word means. And then all of a sudden they start to. They are in action. It is through action over extended periods of time they become extremely fluent in language. It is being around people who are walking and they move their bodies into action, uncoordinated, falling, stumbling, not even being able to stand, but they keep moving. It is through constant movement and the improvement of being able to control movement that one day they walk like everybody else. And network marketing is the same way. Become the person who's worthy of making 500. How do you do that? Through massive, concentrated, full-time hours. I don't care if it's 5 hours a week, but they are full-time packed hours, doing things until you get good at any of the things that represent that standard method of operation. Here's the process, here's the sequence, do this first, this first, this. You don't even have to figure that out. The team has all that, but it's doing that constantly and consistently until all of a sudden you're able to speak fluently and you're able to walk easily. And that's how you make those $500,000 months, and then $2,000 months, and then $3,000 months, and then $5,000 months. That's how it works.
Mr. Curtis Broom, you know, I know you are a man of quotes and sayings, and you know, what comes to mind is a quote by Mr. William Ward. And I know that you've probably even at some point somewhere said this on stage, but it reminds me of what you're saying tonight. He said to plan purposefully, prepare prayerfully, proceed positively, and pursue persistently. And you know, that's exactly what you're talking about here tonight as we go into the season of network marketing. So, brother, I just want to say how much I appreciate you. And every time we get on one of these sessions, I hear something that just gets me riled up, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys. You know what you're doing, because here's what it is, Travis. The height of achievement that you and your key leadership team are achieving is a measure of the numbers of people on the team that are being touched. Because if for people who are brand new, and this isn't a time for this kind of a lesson, but for those of us who have been around a long time, who truly understand the dynamics of compensation plans and models, you know, people who are new sometimes say, well, somebody here at the top, they just get to make all the money. It doesn't happen that way. That someone who achieves a level of significant income, they do that because many people on the team have begun to achieve significant incomes, who are helping many people start to achieve more significant incomes, who are helping many people start to achieve moderate incomes, who are helping many achieve initial incomes, who are helping many people become worthy of earning an income at all. It is that. So when you see people stand on stage and receive these top rank awards and are hitting these top income levels, please understand that was the way that model was designed. Is at that top income, that means they have been a part of helping others create success, all of whom who have helped many others, all of whom who have helped hundreds of others, all of whom have helped thousands of others, all of whom at the top levels have helped tens of thousands of others start the process of becoming worthy of earning their first $500. And so that's what it is. And it all started there. We all started as babies, newborns, who couldn't walk, who couldn't even crawl. You've seen a newborn baby, they can't even sit up. And it's that process of going from a newborn that can't even sit up to be able to sit up, then roll over, then crawl, then stand, then walk. And so it's really fun to be a part of a team, or helping, just be a part of a group of folks like you and Lisa, who's just helping a team and watching so many newborns sitting up now, and then rolling over, and some are crawling, and some are just holding on to the end of the sofa and standing, and then sitting and standing. It's just watching this team. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing this whole familial type of event. So it's a lot of fun. And I understand, like I've always said, I only got here because other people took the time when I was laying on my back and didn't know how to roll over. And, so, that's our role. We're supposed to teach others what we were taught. We aren't very smart. We just regurgitate what really smart people taught us. So
David Green says, thank you, Curtis. A+ stuff tonight. You got chocolate on your face.
Yeah.
You say hi to Curtis. Say hi.
Hi.
He's in his jammies. He's ready for bed.
I know, because he's already put in his 8 hours of networking today. That's what's important. Everybody needs to understand that.
Baba said I'm going to kick you out of
Yeah,
my room.
yeah, he kicked you out of his room.
Yeah.
He got kicked out of his room from his older brother, so he had to come hang out.
So you came and hung out with the smart kids. I like that.
He did. Yeah, and one final real quick story I wanted to tell you, because David Green popped up. This happened last night. You'll appreciate this. So Summer and I had a hangout with Peru last night. We go to we thought, hey, you know what? We're busy. We just got back into town. Hang on. And so we just grabbed a stroganoff out of the freezer and threw it in and thought, oh, it'll be done when we get done. And when we got done, tried the stroganoff and it was horrible. We're like, so I'm a quick solution.
What did you do to mess up her stroganoff?
All I did is put it in the oven. I don't know, but it wasn't good. So I'm a quick solutions guy. So I said, what do you guys want from? I'm going to get Mexican food, and everybody knows I've got kind of a weakness for egg burritos anyway. So new place opened up down the road called Fida Berto's, one of the Berto places. Yeah. And so we walk in, and brand new place, and sitting there talking to the lady at the register, very nice lady, and she's explaining about her power family has opened all these restaurants and they're all related. And we order our food, and then shortly after, the husband and the wife come out, and Summer and I just do what we always do. We wanted to go introduce ourselves and let them know welcome to the neighborhood. We're excited that they're part of the neighborhood, and they'll probably be seeing a lot of us. And I says, my name's Travis. This is Summer. And he looks at me and he goes, Travis Flaherty? And I go, yeah. And I kind of look at him thinking, did I know him from high school? Do I know this guy? He says, I've seen all your videos. I talked to a guy in Southern California a little while back, and you and I actually had a conversation on the phone. I was looking around at different business opportunities, and he said, David Green's his name. And I connected with him over the phone, and I talked to you on the phone. We were supposed to sit down, and I got busy and launched this restaurant and haven't had time. And he says, but I still want to sit down. What are you doing on Friday? I want to show your business to my wife and my daughters, and I've got a big extended family. And I mean, it's just the craziest funny story of just from saying,
See, David, your upline's still working for you. He blows the stroganoff for you. I love that. Now, Travis, that's the way to build. That's the way to support a team.
Yeah. So we have a meeting on Friday, and
Awesome.
had I burnt the stroganoff, you never know where it just didn't taste good. You never know where it would have been. So just kind of a funny story.
But you know what it is? Think about it. David is one of the most consistent. David's a monster, but
He is.
Because he does that. These types of stories happen because it's actually a pretty small world, but it's only a small world if you engage it.
Yeah.
So get out there, engage it, and watch what happens.
Hey, Curtis, thank you very much, buddy. We appreciate you. We'll look forward to seeing you again here soon.
All right, gang. See you guys.
Take care. Bye-bye now.